All right, folks. Happy Sunday.
Welcome. It's a fast weekend. We were here on Friday, and it feels like boom, it's Sunday again, and tomorrow it's
Well,
Monday.
it's been a fast month because I feel like we just did the last submission live on a Sunday with we had Tom's interview pop up. So we're gonna have Promix in with Victoria a bit later today. But yeah, it's just flown by. Four
It did.
weeks.
Yeah.
Summer's halfway over for the elementary school kids almost already.
That is true.
Yeah.
Almost over. And the cool thing is to see the difference between the plants coming in last month and this month, and the amount of growth that they got. We can't wait to see what is going to happen in the next few submissions. And mind you, as well, guys, we don't think anybody's finishing their plants right now. But if this is your last submission, meaning you're going to be harvesting your plant before August, for instance, you do mention to us that it is the last submission. You don't have to do the subsequent submissions, but we don't expect so many early ones. I think that the first out of flowers are going to start going next month in August, and then we're going to have some out of flowers in September as well, plus some early photo periods. And I expect the majority of them to go into October if the competitors are being really serious about maximizing their size of plant to just use it all the way to the end.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as we've made robust rules, there's a lot of options with your grow, such as flowering a bit early. So if you were worried about making it through and you flowered early, you might have a submission coming up. We've seen some massive ones even last Friday on the live. And I've seen a few more on Instagram. So keep posting them, guys. We've had some confusion with the soliciting votes. That has nothing to do with posting about your plant. That's just for the final top 10 phase. So if you want to post your plant, but you've been hesitant because of the rules about soliciting votes, don't worry about that. Please tag us, tag the GGC accounts, and really enjoy the process of flower, which I'm sure some of you will be into now, and most of you hopefully will be into flower next month as well.
That's right. And if you guys need some help, if you want some tips, if you want to try and maximize your yield, the number one, you can always email us at hello@budtrainer.com. We'll give you all of the training tips that we can, because that's really what we love to do here. But also, you can come to one of our Friday lives, which happen every Friday at 4 p.m. EST or 1 p.m. PST. And you can come live with us, show us your plants. We have a number of people who are sharing their plants with us, their Global Grow Cup plants, and asking us for tips. So you're more than welcome to come. We have a very supportive community that is only here to help you out and to give you props if you're already doing a good job.
Speaking of that community, let's check in with who's in the chat here. We got Mad Dog, Caldeo, Jeffrey Jackson. Looks like Caldeo, he is out. He has missexed his plants. Swore there were some hairs on the clones that he put in flower, but I guess not. So either a herm or a male plant for
That's
him.
too bad.
And
Sorry to
out.
hear that. It's one of those really shitty things that it happen mostly with seeds. You plant seeds and then you get the males, but from clones especially, it's like, oh, you kind of take that in because it looks like it was a female, and sometimes it just doesn't turn out to be. So sorry to hear that there. I have definitely felt that pain before.
Hopefully you weren't running too many of those clones in a flower tent, because that means that whole run's probably
that's
up
right
in the air too. So
that's
brutal part of growing cannabis. That's why we try to go with feminized seeds. Seedsman's our go-to for that, with the germination guarantee and a great partner brand of the GGC. But I mean, even if buying feminized seeds, there's things that happen, right? It's not 100%. It definitely improves the chances of getting a female, but
that's right.
This is a plant that grows in nature. It's got two sexes for a reason, because it's trying to reproduce. So sometimes you get those males or those herms in there. But
no, it's just part of the growing life. Everyone is eventually going to come across a male plant or across a hermaphrodite that they're going to have to chop down, and it's just part of the process.
I mean, you don't have to rush on the herms, right? We've done some surgery on herms, just getting rid of some of those nanners, and you'll probably get some seeds, but you will get some flower as well, so you can just wash that to make some hash.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, if you're in the competition, your plant just hermed, but most of it is female flowers, you can just remove remove those herms, because what you can grow is a fully male plant, right? So with herms, you're not going to be out of the competition. However, if they show up in your final submission, then you're going to lose points for that. It is in the rules, but it doesn't mean that you're completely out of the competition.
Now,
In
would
fact,
herms get smaller buds just by nature because there's seeds instead of, the
they would
flower material?
potentially. However, a lot of times herms, they'll happen in the beginning of the flowering cycle or at the end of the flowering cycle. So at the end of the flowering cycle, they come in the form of those they call bananas, because they look like very skinny and long pollen sacs that come out of your female buds. And then when it happens in the beginning of flower, if you stress your plant too much before you flower or during that early period of flowering, the plant can react to that stress by putting out male organs because it thinks it's under a threat. It says, I want to produce seeds as fast as possible, puts out those male pollen sacs to self pollinize and then get seeds out into the ground again. And that's happened before to us with strains that are not very prone to stress and that we're training. And this is why we always tell people, train and leave 3 to 5 days for your plant to recover and go back to growing again before you flower. Because if you train and you flower right away, or if you train very aggressively or top during the flowering cycle in the beginning, you risk getting those pollen sacs, which once you identify them, especially when they are in the lower buds, this is why they don't affect the top buds so much, because they often come in the lower buds. If you, like you said, precisely remove all of those, and when this happens, you have to go back to that plant every week to remove all of those lower pollen sacs, you have a chance of actually getting a plant that produces only female buds. There's always going to be the chance that there's going to be one pollen sac that you missed and you're going to get a couple of seeds here and there. But if you're okay with that, and or if you're extracting your plant, then there's definitely not going to be a problem. So you can remove those early pollen sacs.
Yeah.
It is a bit of work. You have to go branch by branch, make sure you identify all of them, but they won't affect so much your late bud.
We had a question here about the total number of contestants in the GGC as well. So I think that was 188 we had total.
187 that we
187.
had starting. We actually have to do a count and see how many submissions we're going to get at the end of July 31st now. So July 31st or August 1st, we would be able to know. We actually haven't been counting how many dropped from the beginning yet, but I think it's going to be a good...
It'll get easier and easier with each submission, right? Because, I mean, in theory, we will get less. Like, we don't want to see people dropping out, but that's why we did a competition that was so hard, because it's going to be a challenge to make it all the way through the competition. So there will be people dropping out. Obviously, we've got a few here this morning as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this competition that is really cool, is that it's a game of survival as much as it is a game of having the biggest plant. Because if you have the biggest plant and right before you do your harvest, your watering system doesn't go off for a day or two and it dies, that's the risk that you're running. And that's why I think that people who don't have much experience yet as a gardener has a good chance of winning as well, because if they do everything to a T and they water their plants properly and they don't miss a beat, they're going to get a plant that could very well go to the finals.
Yeah, I've actually been surprised. I've been a little bit lazy setting up my auto irrigation, so I've still been hand watering it, and she's still alive. But if you don't have an auto irrigation throughout flower, I think you'll probably be in some trouble. Should we flip it to Victoria now?
Yeah. So we have a video here, guys, an interview that Kurt did with Victoria from Promix, talking about soil and also Promix Connect, which is their mycorrhizal fungi, and how to use those products and so on. So
a lot more about how why they got involved with the GGC and what they're excited about too, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So stick around for the next 10 minutes. You're going to see Kurt's interview with Victoria from Promix, their cannabis division.
Back with another interview with one of the GGC partner brands. This time we have Promix in the house. We have Victoria coming on to join us. So I will bring on Victoria right now and we will chat about Promix.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going, Victoria?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. We got another GGC deadline coming up. And with that, we're doing another live with a partner brand. Last time we had Tom from Seedsman. We're going to have Athena and AC Infinity up. But I'm excited to get to know a little bit more about you and Promix, of course.
Sounds
good. Hope you're up for that. So I guess back to the passion and the community itself. The GGC is obviously a passion project, something that we put on for the community with Promix and the other partner brands. So why did Promix decide to jump in to this competition?
For me, when I the person that was contacted before is Bernard. Bernard is my director. So he introduced that to me, and I instantly got like curious because it's not something that we see more often. It's something, Cannabis Cup exists for so many years, but that specific concept of like challenging was just so interesting to me because I feel like when you grow cannabis, people often also compare themselves to others. And when you grow cannabis as simple as everyone else do, it's easy to do that. But with that new concept and that new challenge, I felt like it would bring people more together because it's something new and it's not common. So to have all of the brands also participating, I felt like we all know the product will be good, but it's kind of like also a challenge for us because we don't do that often. We work with home growers that grow in, I don't know, 3.5, 7-gallon. It's more common to do so, but that small cup and the fact that people have like, little, not challenge, but like they have rules to come up to. And, you guys came up with such a good concept. I felt like it was just only right that Promix participated in that because we know that Promix growers use also Athena seedsmen. And it's so easy for us to jump in and be a part of that new challenges. And then also we are a company that loves to innovate. So it was only right for us to kind of participate in that new concept and that new challenge. And it also bring up all of the community part that we talked about earlier. So yeah, the challenge I feel was really something that stood up for us.
No, that's amazing. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just something different, but along the same lines of getting into that really like human thing is that need to compete and compare. But we're also seeing, the classic cannabis collaboration. People are supporting each other. I know a few growers are, posting pictures and trying to get help and just, explaining the difficulties of keeping a plant in a 16-ounce container alive.
It comes with so many challenges, and also like you're used to using the product, but not in that specific like concept. So I feel like it was really nice also to see the pictures and people really getting involved into it. And as you said, like asking questions with their stories and like kind of where all of the community just makes sense now because you see people trying new things and still asking for helps to people that don't necessarily do that. So it's like really cool to see the alliance that it kind of create, right?
Yeah, and I think it really gives people a perspective on what this plant can do. I know when I first started growing, you try to cut corners and all these different things. So like I was using really cheap, like, get at the grocery store soil and cheap fabric pots from Amazon before I got involved with Bud Trainer, and then realized that stuff wasn't going to work. But it's amazing that with such small volume, like if you keep feeding it, the plant can actually survive in this, although it is a huge challenge. But if you've got like the high quality stuff and you're really making sure that you're keeping it fed,
it makes the
it's
difference.
possible. Yeah, very cool. So aside from the GGC, what is Promix, and like what are you guys excited about for the cannabis space? It's not necessarily something that's in the newspaper all the time, other than maybe legalization in the States is. But what are you excited about?
So for us, I feel like in the past couple of years, it was the innovative that people bring to the table. I mean, we've seen like companies come up with new technologies, and a colleague of mine she visited commercial growers, and they saw that AI is now a thing in commercial grow rooms. So it's like it's really amazing because they bring up so many new things that kind of like helps them focus on the growing and not on the finding out if they have some pests, finding out like why is the consistency not right and stuff. So I can't really remember the name of it, and I will definitely comment the name because it's really amazing, really. And it's the Purple Farm team that was doing that. And that, for me, AI was more a thing like we see on social media. It's not really something that come up in the commercial grow room. And for Promix, we always bring, innovation like the grow bags. And now that we have 100% cocoa stuff. So we always try to listen to what growers actually needs and what they want to see. And so when I saw the AI thing, I was like super excited about, right? So that was something. And also the fact that just company try to focus their energy to cutting all of that time saving, the cleaning part, everything that can be done with something else than the growers. So AI, or just like the technologies like the grow bags and everything. So for me to see where the industry is going with helping growers put more growing in the work, like put more time in growing and less in doing everything else that brings up the plants, it's really interesting.
So what are maybe some of the tips you would give to somebody who's a newer grower? I know you guys rely a lot on growers themselves to come up with this, but what are some of the tips that you've heard of?
So it's funny because that question, so I mentioned it probably 5 times now, but I am the social media manager at Promix. So that is the question I love the most, because that is the question I always ask my growers. And the posts that I do have always, I would say I can rely on them, because here, people always tell me to have patience, be kind with yourself, because it's a long process. Growing cannabis is long. It takes a lot of efforts, specification as well. So I would say people always tell me, be kind with yourself, takes a lot of notes, because if something is wrong with whatever in your grow, if you didn't take notes, you will not find the problem. And if you took notes, and it's so much easier, because now you know what you just did, and then you kind of like find the solution really more easy, right? And also I would say use Promix Connect whenever you transplant, because it will save you a lot of like stress on the plants. But yeah, no, just I feel like for the tips that Promix growers give all the time, it's really just patient, take notes, and remember why you started, because it's easy to get into it and compare yourself with what influencers are doing, but you also have to remember the core of why you started growing. And it's out of passion, it's out of joy, it's out of like you said, like you could go to dispensaries, but you choose to grow at home because you know what you're growing. And it's the proud moment when you finally have that amazing grow. And it's just, yeah, remember why you started, do it out of passion and joy, and you'll never go wrong with that.
That's very good advice. I like that you did like the philosophical advice, being patient, but then also as a good employee, making sure that you pitch the Promix Connect, which we've been using. H and I have really had great experiences with it. H is growing a few plants right now with all the partner brands, Seedsman Genetics, AC Infinity for the tent and the lighting. Obviously Promix for the media, and then Athena nutrients, and he's like raving about his plants right now. Just to wrap up, where can people find more information about Promix and the best practices for using it for cannabis?
I would say definitely social media. We always the handle is Promix_cannabis. We share a lot of our tips, but also the Promix growers tips. We're always very, very active on the community side. So definitely find us at Promix_cannabis, just like that. And we're always I try to answer all of the DMs possible. We do video, we collab with influencers, we really try to make information available as much as possible. And like you said, to work with other companies such as Bud Trainer, Athena, AC Infinity, and Seedsman, it's really great because we kind of create those alliance, but we know that the growers they all use the same company, right? So you can find us there, and don't ever be shy to reach out in our DMs, because there is no such stupid question. I was starting from nothing when I started 2 years ago, so never be afraid to ask questions, and we're always happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot iterate enough how much collaborations in the cannabis industry. I never would have expected to be, involved to this level, and it's been a really cool ride. So thank you so much for doing this with us. This is going to air live right before the next submission deadline. So guys, get your submissions in for the GGC, and I'm going to send it back to myself and H to the live video.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bet you guys didn't know I could transport. There's two of me.
That's right.
I have a twin. identical twin, and we just go by one identity so that we only have to do half as much work.
What's his name?
Curtis.
Oh, two. Curtis 1, Curtis 2.
Well, we're not going to be talking about ourselves in the third person when we talk to each other, so no point in having two names. And one of us always gets to stay home and play video games.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that sit down with Victoria. That is just a snippet of the interview. Same thing we did with Tom from Seedsman, just because we like to do these things live so we can interact with you guys in the chat here. Anthony's saying one's Curtis, one is Kurt, so that works too.
Right.
But yeah, so we'll post that full interview. If you haven't seen the full interview with Tom, I would urge you to go check that out. Very interesting guy, somebody who's been in the industry for a long time, seen the transition from the gray black market to the forefront of being an industry leader for what they do. So interesting chats with both of them. We'll have somebody from Athena next month, and then hopefully somebody from AC Infinity or one of the influencers from AC Infinity to join us and chat about our good friends at both those companies as well.
Yeah, that's it, guys. We were here mostly to answer any questions, to give you guys some updates, just like this video, and also to remind you, July 31st is just around the corner, so get your submission in for this month. Sorry again, Caldeo, about your plant. Our condolences.
Let's check in with the chat before we leave here.
And we're going to just have a look at all the chat and everything that you guys said to see if we missed anything here.
Man, those guys look comfortable in all their shorts and t-shirts. It's still winter here in Quebec. Yeah, you guys we only get like 2 months of real summer, and you guys probably get 1 month. So
that's right.
My condolences, but you can move around Canada as a Canadian citizen. So come on down to Ontario. Anthony says he wants to try Promix. I was going to after I started last year, after buying everything, but I didn't have the money for it. That's totally cool. It is it's one of those hobbies like hiking or anything that you're really putting a lot of time into. You got to acquire the tools and the equipment over a period of time, because it can be a pretty big investment up front.
Yeah, and the thing about Promix is that they have those big bales that are I can't even remember, 107 liters or something. It comes compressed, it's massive, super heavy, and they are expensive. However, they now have the 3-gallon bags, which is a single bag with everything you need for 3 gallons. You can just rip that, put it in your 3-gallon bud pot, and off you go. They're much more affordable, and they're pretty much, you could say single use. You use them for one plant, and then off you go to get another bag as well. Less volume and also less of an upfront investment.
Yeah. Spanish Dre saying Promix is the best. I've always been a cocoa guy, but you gave me that one plant in Promix.
Oh, that's right. That was already in Promix.
Yeah, I mean, it's drinking almost as much water as the cocoa plants I've grown, maybe because it's huge, right?
Right.
It's a 7-gallon you gave me, or 5-gallon?
That pot.
Was it a 3?
No, I think it was a 3. Yeah,
no
it
way.
was growing downstairs. Yeah, and that's the thing about Promix you mentioned. It is very similar to cocoa in a lot of ways, because the peat that is in that Promix is inert. It doesn't have any nutrient value to it, and the only thing that it does is that it holds on to nutrients a little bit more than cocoa does, and releases those nutrients when the roots need it. So while it doesn't have as fast of a metabolism as the cocoa will have, or the more deep water, the closer you get to deep water culture, the more of a metabolism your plant is going to have. But the thing about Promix is that it has a lot of variation as well with all of that perlite, and that is what allows those roots to grow and allows you to feed constantly, just like you would with cocoa coir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm feeding that plant probably 3 times a night now in like 10-minute bursts.
Okay, yeah.
Getting a little bit of runoff every night. Is that something that's fine for peat moss? Because I know cocoa, I do want to feed it every day, but a soil you can probably get away with every other day. So it's kind of in between.
Yeah, it all depends on how much the plants are drinking that water. With peat, you might have to water every day just because of the size of the roots and the size of that plant, as you would with cocoa. Now, the thing about runoff is you might want to do a runoff once a week on your peat, not necessarily every day. If you have, the platform and everything to do every day, it's always better. However, if you're measuring your EC coming out and your EC coming in, and they're very similar, you really don't have to do it every day. You can wait until, once a week, and just make sure that you wash off those nutrients that were being previously held there. Now, with the global grow cup plants, it is good to get runoff every time.
Yeah. Umbrella Trellis said, off subject, H, but do you mind me asking what your workout routine is?
Yeah, my workout routine right now, and thanks for the question, I'll take that as a compliment, has been carrying my 3.5-month-old baby on both arms. So I've been flexing like this all day long, because once one arm gets tired, you go for the other one. So that's really been my workout regimen here. But yes, thanks for the question again.
You used to do some mixed martial arts stuff.
Yeah, in the past, I did a lot of working out and not mixed martial arts, but just Muay Thai and things like that. But that stopped many years ago. I got to get back into it. But no, so far, having a baby does get your workout going.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for GGC questions, unless there's one last minute. But what do you say, H? You want to go enjoy the rest of your Sunday?
Yeah, no, I think we're good to go here, guys. Thank you again for coming on board. Love to see you guys in the comments here. Love to see how some of you already know each other too. We'd love to be putting this a little bit of the community together as well. Yeah. And we are always looking to see you guys in the next one. So next time we're going to be live is going to be next Friday, 4 p.m. If you guys want to come in to show us your plants, ask us questions, or just be part of the crowd, by all means, we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, thank you guys for helping us out by watching and enjoying, and hopefully you got something out of this. Get your GGC submission in, and good luck to those still alive.
Happy Sunday.